because of the mask.
Oh,
It's kind of like Batman.
So the chops are partially two things. One of them was while I was working during COVID, or I was working at bars during COVID. I wasn't staying in my house, so I was quarantining myself from
Because you have
the lady and Albert, my son. So I was staying at other bartenders' houses and stuff, and my beard was super big and it all grows out. So like I have to like use like the heated like brush and beer oil and stuff.
There's still room for sponsorship on this show.
Roughneck. What's up?
Yeah, so, and that's a brand apparently. I did not know.
You know about Roughneck?
No.
We'll have Brad on here. He'll tell you all about it. But after he pays us. If you can pay Matt Basler, you can pay me. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, like it just became too much like to deal with. So, I like this. If I don't do anything, it looks like I don't have a chin, so it just looks like a big like.
The irony in that your chin is the only thing exposed.
Yeah. If I don't do it like this, it just looks like there's like a lump of ham with a face on it.
Well, like I told you, I grew the beard like right out of the core because like right after that I was working at that Frisch's Big Boy, and it was not hilarious to look just like the mascot of the restaurant you work at. So it was Beard City from then on.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
You do look like Dick Dastardly somehow. Are you gonna go sabotage the wacky races?
Are you gonna curl it? Don't curl it.
He's gonna do it.
People think you're being ironic. It doesn't work. You're too.
But he smokes cigars.
Yeah,
is he being ironic?
He wears glasses and shit. You're gonna look like the fucking Monopoly man. Don't do it.
I don't wear glasses that much. I'm just lazy for that.
He wears monocles usually.
I know, but you're like, hey, check out my cigar brand. Look at my fucking wax mustache.
I'm Russian. Ha 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 ha.
Russians don't do that shit. Russians are fucking bitter as fuck.
It's just part of his brand.
Yeah. Grab your heritage, man.
You Russian?
Yeah. Excuse me.
I was just watching Chernobyl the other day.
Less COVID and more marijuana.
It's a great miniseries.
I need to get into it. So did we clear all the mercantile stuff? Do we need to go back to mercantile? Is that where
Let's talk about
where we leave off?
Do you still day trade?
I don't.
I know it's obviously a hot topic 3 weeks from now when this posts. But by the way, you're on a 3-week delay, so this is hot news right now. Like all this day trade stuff's going on. I know Demetrius Kane from Duckett was former day trader. You might be the only other person in this industry I know that has a background in it. Where did you land on watching all of us idiots scramble?
It was interesting.
You can be brutal.
That's what the market is. The market is pretty arbitrary. It's pretty easily influenced by human emotion. It is pretty easily manipulated, and the people who have that information are able to make money.
So I saw a weird news article, which I thought was just really lazy writing, but it was like shorting the market. Why does America hate it? And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I feel like it's generally a shitty approach to something. Do you agree or disagree? Like, is it fair? Because like you said, I feel like the only people that even know to do that are getting that information aren't. It's not like it's an even playing field, nor is it designed to be.
The market is not
shitty,
new,
or is it just we're shitty at it?
It's shitty that more people didn't realize that that's how the market works. Before
they did give us the movie.
That's like what happened there was nothing new in terms of like how the market works.
No, I mean this was. I think the only time it came to light was 2008 in the housing market, but they've changed the terminology for how this works 7 times, but it's
they're more likely to like change the terminology than change the practices.
Yeah, no, it's still the same thing. Apparently.
Yeah. So no, I mean we need to reform a lot of shit in this country, and one of them is how our underlying market ethic works. Our underlying market ethic is that you make money wherever you can make money, and if that means that you, skirt the rules here or there.
I don't mind a little bit of pirate TV.
That's the American way, right?
Yeah.
That's literally what Donald Trump read on, like him saying that, If I didn't pay taxes, that makes me smart, right? No. Doesn't make you smart. It means that you know how to exploit the rules.
It's also ironic, though, because the people who are taking advantage of that were also the people who called foul whenever the wrong team started winning.
Oh, no, all of it is. I think that's, you know, we want to have this right or wrong or black and white approach to it, or at least, you know, darker shades of gray than others.
Well, we just need to be honest about what are we doing? Like, is the American experiment democracy as it was written?
I think the idea behind
people couldn't fathom an airplane, let alone the internet, or was that just an idea? And we need to
Al Gore invented the internet.
Well, I don't know that Donald Trump could imagine the internet before he was on it.
I don't. No, but it's. I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, I think the only American experience or experiment, like, I guess the only point of it is how much can we adapt? And I think the idea, as long as, like you said, communication is open, then we always adapt and come to, you know, a happier conclusion. But, you know, we get divided a lot.
When communication is open, you also have to go through some like reconciliation.
Nope, you are. I'd say I did kind of breeze right over that. That does not mean we just get to keep moving forward as stuff as if things are okay. Like,
no, we're going to have
to revisit history.
Yeah, we
in the sense of, if you want to move forward. I mean, there's deep wounds in this country that we seem to be unwilling to, for any length of time, address in a real way.
Well, there are deep wounds, and there are like. Well, let me rephrase that. There are deep scars, and there are current wounds that need to be, balanced, for lack of a better word. And I don't think you do any of that without communication.
It's a big ask. We're not used to that kind of thing.
It's all right.
I'm not saying that in a sense of an excuse. I'm saying we're going to have to be uncomfortable and have that conversation and make it happen. Like, I understand the.
And what better place to do that?
You don't want to do it, but I don't see any way forward. Again, big part of food and stuff is cultures even in Missouri here.
Well, I mean, that's
how much of our culture.
St. Louis and Missouri in general, I think, are kind of at that crossroad where between. Like when I first came to St. Louis from Chicago, one of the first things I noticed was that it was the opposite of Chicago in that, like, Chicago seemed to get more crowded, like pretty much every week. Like there were more people on the train, and coming here, I was only meeting people my age who couldn't wait to get the fuck out of here. And
it's crazy as many people that want to go there. Like the people there is like, I gotta get. It's like any other hometown. Just get the fuck out.
Everybody's like, no matter where you are as a teenager, you want to get the fuck out of
here.
The funny thing is, a homegrown St. Louisan though, like I'm South City till the day I die, but watching so many St. Louisans be like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Chicago, and they're back.
And then come back.
They're back in 2 years.
That's like New York.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
I'm going
like,
to New York
that was
City. Like
my first couple of years, I
York.
noticed how many people wanted to leave, and then by the time I'd been here for like 6 years, you notice how many people came back, and people, shot off again, and I would leave every now and then and be gone for a couple months. But St. Louis is one of those cities where you come back to it and you feel like you're at home. Like I tell people all the time, it's really easy to hit the ground running here. Like I would come back here from wherever I'd been for.
Go ahead. Sorry.
One of my favorite things about St. Louis is like, if you want to be involved in something, if you want to be active, there's something to do every night.
Yeah.
You might have to put a little bit of work into it.
Yeah. You might have to create it. If you want to be active in something, you might, but you can do it here.
But the other thing about it is it's small enough to where, like, either if you want to stay home, you can stay home and you don't feel like you're missing much. And then at the same point, it's small enough that if you want to create it, there's just enough people there.
It's easy enough to navigate.
Yeah. And like people will respond to what you're doing too.
Yeah.
And because it's a big, small city or a small, big city, whenever you do something that really isn't, in Chicago, it would just be overlooked. And like to these 20 or 30 people, it means something. Here, like you can do something with 20 or 30 people and people might actually start looking at it,
True.
So
true.
No, I consider myself a prime example. Y'all have been at work here far longer than I have. Not say in the industry in general, probably all kind of same timeline, but here,
I'd say Tony's been at work on the culture here. Tony,
you guys opened doors for me. Like same going to Sanctuaria. That's not like, anybody made Sanctuary other than those people that opened those doors and did what they did there to make it popular.
What?
But at the same time, to make it popular again or to work on it, it was just more of a, handshake thing. You went to bars, you made friends, you had an interpersonal network versus
interpersonal. You meet people. You go out and actually meet people.
And that's how, so we started getting a following. It wasn't, oh, here's my cocktail list. It's so dope. Maybe but that's not why.
That used to be a thing though. There used to be a thing where it was like there was a border of entry and there was people running programs like Vicia or whatever like that, and they.
Yeah, Vicia.
No, but I'm just saying, in like there used to be this like a imaginary boundary between those people and then people who were like grinding at like Atomic or like like our venue bars.
And that's ironic because I come from the grind. We all come from the grind.
But there was a push, and I would say I'm a part of it. That was like bartenders are fucking bartenders because you can make the best drink in the world, but if you're a shitty bartender, you're still a shitty bartender.
I hate the master of the 7-minute cocktail.
I mean,
It might be
it
the
depends
guy
on how.
running the kitchen too much.
Honestly, I've always felt like I'm a better. I think I'm a mediocre bartender. Like, I'm a good bartender in a volume setting.
Your hospitality is fantastic.
I'll say it for
know
a
me.
second time. I don't know you. I came to know you through somebody else and through, what I know to be some of the better programs in
That's true.
town.
And
And,
also,
man, like objectively, I knew Matt Longville to be from there. I knew Jonathan. I always forget his name. He was server.
Well, I mean, just the way I work
You have a
across.
genuine. I know what it takes to do foraging stuff. Like that's hard. Like I was new to it, had to deal with it, and I don't know it like you do. But that is a skill in its own. It's not just balancing profile.
That skill
So
doesn't
don't
really
mediocre.
translate across a bar.
I
There when
appreciate
somebody's
your
trying to
humility
talk to
here,
you about
but, I would
their
refuse
day,
it.
and you're like, yeah, I'm really looking for this one syrup, and
No,
I hear you,
I
and,
get it.
and
No,
I
get
will
it.
get back
and
to
you
you.
learn
Yeah.
sometimes by accident. Sometimes
But that's where having like a regular comes into play, and like somebody who knows you as well as you know them, and like
balancing
going back
your
to
concept
like
with your
talking about
personality,
riddles
that's
again.
another-
Where, like, I don't know if you ever. I mean, Tony, you might have been to riddles, but it was like you walk in, there's a big circular table in front of the door where people are just
a community.
community table
nice flow
before they
pattern.
became trendy again.
John Taffer.
It was
F
actually
off.
like terrible for the floor layout because it was literally right in front of the door. It's like
It's kind of a shotgun right there.
Yeah.
But you had to run into people. You had to.
Yeah. And
And if it was somebody,
if you were waiting for a table back in the dining
in a
room,
town where
back when we had non-smoking
People
sections
like to
and
be
shit
seen.
like
I mean,
there were
they're
definitely
gonna
people
sit
who
at the
held
table.
court, and there's something to
I
be
can
said
see
about that person in the room because that's a function, and that's a
also-
function that you as a bartender don't want to like have to do.
It was also a different time for Delmar in general. It was also a different time for
different
Delmar
version
in
of the
general,
Red Hat
too.
lady.
the Delmar Loop. Yeah,
Like the people who hung out and went to Delmar are the people who. I mean, a lot of it was people who just lived down there. But
Yeah.
like that's just where they went. So like it served a purpose because like you're going to know like who the fuck's at the table.
it was a true pub in like a public house.
Yeah.
Like you were going there to hang out with people who you were going to go shoot the shit with for
was
X
almost
amount of time every day.
like a bistro neighborhood. It
It was almost
Yeah,
atmosphere
there's a fluidity
first,
to
and then
it.
just happened to be
Yeah,
on top of their game as far as food and everything else went. you know,
definitely.
like
Yeah.
it was.
They were definitely like ahead of the curve
Definitely
in terms of
lightning
what
in a
like they
bottle
were trying to
situation.
do. But Andy was like somebody else who had grown up on a farm, but also had like this. He lived in different cities. He lived in different countries.
I am hypersensitive to it, but I'm telling you, I've even started a thing called the Coalition of Andes. The amount of Andes in the industry in this town, I've lived in other towns. I mean, just
You
this
guys
guy,
all kind of look alike too.
but it's hilarious. Yeah, we are of overweight and bearded nature, except for Andy Forstall over at Intoxicology. He's like Bruce Willis. That's what
Where the
Melissa
Andes
said. Melissa said he likes Bruce Willis.
Where their Indies are there?
So then you have Andrea that does drink bourbon, wear lipstick. You have Andy from Still 630.
Did you just compare yourself to Andrea?
No, I'm saying, oh yeah, Andrea's count as Andes, the coalition of Andes. That's it's all Andes in the industry.
Zoom in on my face when he says that.
We're an inclusive bunch. We can smell our own. We know when it's real.
There's a lot of reasons why.
Andy Forstall, and then
Andrea
there's Bad Andy, and then there's
You guys don't look anything alike.
nobody. Well, that he said that part. I thought you were asking me how many Andys in the industry. I think that maybe we just have a familiarity.
Yeah, I guess.
People always call me Adam, though. So I made the joke that you
People
can
always
just...
call me Paul.
Paul. You look like Paul.
Paul?
Yeah. They can remember the P and the L.
Oh, just as like.
I get Adam, then I like make the joke that I respond to any 2-syllable A word, and it's like, oh, asshole. I was like, yes, thank you. That is in fact the joke. I had a hotel receptionist tell me that if people can't remember my name, to tell them there's a snake in my boot. I think that only resonates with a certain generation. It's supposed to be a Toy Story thing.
Yeah.
Remember Andy? Yeah, I say like some people are like right on, and then I get
Tom
that look
Hanks,
a lot too. Like it's like what?
I have a regular whose name.
I get the
The
I don't
joke.
expect the Mad Russian to understand.
Stupid.
It is stupid.
I do have a regular though. His name is Andy, and he actually got the Andy, like the shitty signature.
Yeah.
That's on the bottom of Woody's foot.
Oh, you got the
Oh,
backwards.
He got
He
that
got it
tattooed.
tattooed on the bottom of his fucking foot.
That is hilarious.
that's
See, I
painful.
told you we're of like minds here.
But
Andy
the shame is
Rieger.
he has
Andy
to-
Rieger.
No,
See,
the shame is he has to. Like,
list goes
redo it,
on.
like every 2 years or so because that skin's constantly regenerating. Tattoo fat, the bottom of your feet.
Well, it's
Oh, yeah,
it's
well,
supposed to
that's
like
like-
disappear, right? Andy gets
Oh yeah. I guess it's similar to the
Sure, yeah, it does wear off a little bit. That's authentic. We have stayed on track, and that's good. Former St. Louis bartending stories. Again, this town is not like what it is right now. Like we get to get more national attention recently because we've had restaurants open up that
this
I
town
guess
is totally
command that.
different in terms of like restaurants.
where I was at 2012 when I was here during my first stint was Bar Louie in the Central West End. So like what was a great bar at the time I remember coming back and thinking at least 30 or 40% of things would be the same. And this is an entirely new town. It's like I was never even here. Like me showing up places like, who's this guy? Like, of course. Like, as your experience has like, your resume is it's impressive. I mean, you've worked at some great places with Gerard Kraft and otherwise. What have you seen change? I know you came up with Dave. I always forget his name. Last name. Works at Lucky Tiger now. Is that right?
Gredeman.
Yeah. So like
Me and Dave worked at Sardella, getting that started. Dave is I love that kid.
I've had nothing but great experiences with the guy.
Dave's a junior to you though. I mean, right? I mean, he's
Yeah.
He's about
Dave-
10 years younger than we.
Dave's way younger than
He's
us.
never 16 feet or more away from a bottle of Old Fitzgerald. Which is
True.
a weird fact and very freaking true no matter what bar I've run into him at.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually we'll have to get Dave on here too.
Yes.
He's-
he's
Phenomenal talent in town.
He's just
You definitely
rum
don't
nerd.
need. You definitely don't need.
I don't even know where you
format
get a
talking to him
Clement
either.
hat. He's got a Clement hat. Like Jay.
He's another one
so
who
funny,
like
too,
he's
like-
another one who's got a strong like kitchen kind of background.
Yeah.
I think he started off like working in the kitchen before he was behind a bar.
the funny thing
Yeah.
too is I knew
Common
Dave
thread.
as he used to work at Handle.
Yeah, I think that's where I first.
I knew him to work at a bar that will be unnamed until he got to Elmwood, and then I'll give him credit for that. But before that, I ran into him at an unnamed terrible bar here in the Grove.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's whatever.
yeah. No, it had nothing to do with him. I just,
His,
I'm not giving.
He was at Taste. He was at Woody
God,
at Sardella.
that's the one bar I've always wanted
He was
to
a
work
handle
at
bar,
here in town, and
and
had
he went
not.
to Taste, and then he went to the bar that he still want to give any props to. But I mean, his fucking Hurricane there was fucking killer.
His rum knowledge in general. Like, what is it? His brother worked for, was it 3 Dots and a Dash? Or yeah.
His brother's like a general manager for that
Oh, I
group.
didn't know
Also
that.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
But he started working at Taste, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "How's it going for you? Like, how do you like?" He's like, "Man, like," he was like, he was actually like, "I think I'm in like deep waters. I think I'm in over my head. Like everyone there is like a walking, talking encyclopedia," and it's just like he like acclimated to it like that.
That's kind of like the best. I miss having that feeling of walking into a bar for the first time and being like, "What the fuck is this?"
But
And how do I use it?
But also, I feel like his attitude about it is like what you want. Like when you got a new guy.
Exactly.
That's like almost like
His attitude is great and his delivery is sleepy. He reminds me of like Joel from Mystery Science Theater when he's talking to you about stuff. And I
there's nothing wrong with
it. No, it resonates with me. Like, so that's why like every time I have him in front of me, like I remember it. Like, I mean, I've learned something.
Well, I mean,
that,
he's
that I'm
memorable.
overexposed. Like I learned something from him.
Like, he's a presence. Like he doesn't have to say a whole lot for you.
No, he's
or,
not.
like,
There's no
remember him.
flash. There's no need
Well,
for
he
it.
kind of is Joe Flash. He dresses pretty flashy.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great.
I wish he could wear the
It's like
short
the Josh.
shorts
It's like a Josh
at
Home
home that
haircut
he used to wear
Queens of the Stone
at
Age.
Handlebar.
Nah, again, yeah, I just saw you mention him a couple times, and
No,
it's like, I
mean, he's definitely
also
one of those
somebody
kids who
probably
like who I
mean,
like
he gets his one or two pages
truly
spread, like,
enjoyed
to talk,
working
but-
with, and it was one of those situations where I felt like I was learning as much from him as he was learning from me.
So he's got Chicago ties, but like, and so do you. I imagine you go back home to Chicago a lot, and there's a bit of a bar scene there, and
Little bit.
And I played. I used to play around a little bit out there, not recently, but Sable, I think, was the first bar I went to after failing to get on VH1's On the Rocks in NBC Studios down there. I was hilariously underqualified, and thought because I knew the name Dale DeGraw, I was in like Flynn. Be a 2008, 2009 kind of.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, terrible. I knew how to make a Cosmo and I had no idea what I was getting into. But afterwards, celebrated, went to Sable, and it was like my first experience in like a loopish happy hour kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pops for Champagne was hot at the time. I think that was my first experience with great hospitality because the bar was full. We didn't have reservations, and like that dude was super stoked to bring 2 other bar stools to the bar. I'd not seen that before. What are some of your favorite bars in Chicago? Either one of you?
I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't go out a lot when I'm back home. Like,
Do you have like a favorite neighborhood spot you get a beer at, or I'm not looking for like the flashy stuff
my favorite
necessarily.
neighborhood is Hyde Park and just kind of being downtown. Usually when I'm there, it's because I want to see somebody in person specifically, and so I want to spend as much time with them as possible. And like,
You got a talent down there right now
much-
you want to put on Front Street here? You gotta. Who's your guy in Chicago?
They're all already.
They're all great. They're all great. Everybody's amazing.
For me, I mean, it all comes down to personal experience, right? But like,
Definitely.
we used to stay at Longman and Eagle every time we went to Chicago with Lincoln Park. Is that right? Or
That sounds right.
no.
I know it's in Chicago.
It's whatever the super hipster square is down there. I forget.
I mean, I grew up on the South Side, and so like
Right.
most of the places I
not
want to
bad.
hang out are like it's shot and beer.
No,
You know,
that's. I mean, I've been to the Boiler Room. Like that's what is that on Sundays? That's the
My
only place you
favorite
can get
bar to
for
go to in
$15.
Chicago, honestly, and the one place that I go to every time I'm there is Miller's Pub.
Miller's
right,
Pub.
Yeah, right downtown Chicago.
Are you a Miller Lite guy?
I mean, I'll drink one. I mean,
Well, I didn't know. Like I know when I get down there, like Bud Light disappears and it is Miller Lite, like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, it was
so
weird
don't
when I
feel
came
like
here.
if
And
Southside guys are like, yeah, we're Miller Lite guys.
it was weird when I first came to St. Louis and I realized how big AB was. Like I'd seen commercials all the time, but I was also seeing commercials for like, fucking hams. And, I didn't see that
So
down
like,
here.
you probably didn't associate a town with a beer like we do. Maybe that's my misstep here. It's like St.
No,
Louis
not
is
really.
Unfortunately, yeah, like we're like associated with this beer,
It's,
like Denver is with Coors Lights.
I mean, I totally appreciate it now, but when I first got here, it was like, well. But that also kind of goes back to like,
You guys just smashing Guinness on the South Side?
Well, AB,
You're like, God no.
AB's been part of our culture for so long that like, I mean, there was
well,
actually
even a place like Schlafly's there was like, when I was at Riddles,
Oh,
Schlafly was a microbrewery.
Schlafly in the heyday.
Like I didn't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah,
really, to be
Schlafly
honest
then,
with you.
Schlafly now, very different.
I'd seen them in Chicago and just not realized what they were. I guess that
Right.
here were places making beer that were like, actually, the restaurant was actually a place that was.
So when Goose Island comes
Making-
out with the
making beer.
312, is that the
But,
Chicago? Did you guys feel personal pride there? You're like, what are you talking about?
I don't feel personal pride, but there's definitely a recognition when I'm in an airport somewhere and I don't recognize anything on the tap.
Like, I know
But a
that area
312,
code.
I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely take that.
So we'll speak to the marketing on that one. All right.
It
Yeah,
works.
but I think that's different. Like St. Louis, like Anheuser-Busch had such a
It's a definite
staff.
cultural thing here.
right.
It's almost mafia type.
Well, I mean, that's
They
a
had
little-
most back
a little
bars,
heavy, but
chandeliers.
it's mafia type when you think about the fact that like St. Louis and like Kentucky are so similar, and the fact that St. Louis was never a whiskey town was because Anheuser-Busch pushed it out.
I worked, unfortunately.
that's type of a mafia thing. But
I mean, I could tell you like how
there's so much in St. Louis culture
No, I-
that was just built up because of the backbones of Andy.
I was a manager at a Hot Shots in St. Louis, which will go unnamed. And when Crafted came
We were talking
out,
about two different things.
No. I'm talking about like the mafia build of AB. Like,
Oh my god.
no, I'm telling you, like, Crafted comes out, Willie Bush is brewing. And so I said, look, let's do buckets of Crafted for the same price as we do Bud Light or Budweiser.
Ever. All right.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. Go
Please, no. We're waiting.
So Riddles was one of those places that like Andy was not going to put AB on tap. Like we carried it in bottles, but like he was, adamant that he was only going to have microbreweries on tap, but he had Schlafly on tap. And AB was always kind of butthurt about that. It made sense to me. Because I get what he was trying to do. He was a small business trying to support another small business. And then it just made sense to me. Fuck does AB care if one bar doesn't have their beer on tap? But they definitely it wasn't harassment or anything like that, but like they definitely wanted to know why every time they came in, every time some exec came in, it was like, well,
Yeah, no, they want to know why.
It's weird how those big
They'll pull
breweries,
signs.
like what they care about. Like
It is. And I would talk to people even back then and be like, do something different. Like if we could be like the one spot who has this one thing that you're doing that you're trying to play around with, I'm cool with that. That makes sense. That's interesting. We don't need to put you on tap because we can sell beers on tap that we're excited about and still sell 12
Still have
cases
your
a
standards,
year.
yeah.
but those guys aren't restaurant people. They're old school salesmen,
Yeah.
and they just see an empty slot.
It's
as an
just
empty
numbers.
slot.
Yeah.
I was actually told by a guy one time when I was doing a venue right down the street from Busch Stadium. He goes, "You're a big Coors Banquet fan, right?" I go, "I love Coors Banquet. It's the best beer in the world. I love it." Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "You should put it on draft here." I laughed at him. I'm like, "No." And he goes, "No, just put it on and see how it does next to Busch." And I'm like, "I can already tell you what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
Busch is going to win."
I love Bush.
And he's like,
16
"Are you
ounce
sure
can.
about that?" I go, "Turn around and look at the fucking stadium outside the fucking window and tell me why I'm not going to sell Busch." And he was just like, "You're an asshole." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Am I?" Because I think you're the asshole in this
I mean,
situation.
it's one of those things where it's like you don't need to.
It's fine. Get off.
It's going to sell no matter what. Like you can have Bush on tap if that's the slot that you think it works best in, or you can have it in a bottle, and you're going to sell as much of it as you can carry.
Sorry, you're,
and that's all
you're
you
a Grove guy too. Nobody's doing Bush on tap. It's a 16-ounce can, or get the fuck out of here. I lost a Tinder date over that bet, but continue on. Just thought it was a shitty beer. So-
I thought you were going someplace else with that, but
No, he went on a Tinder date and he ordered a Busch. And the girl knew that he was like a fancy bartender or whatever. And she was like, "That's what you're drinking?" And
Oh, I told her the only thing wrong with the Bush I was drinking was it was in a 12-ounce bottle, not a 16-ounce can.
yeah.
I don't
She
know.
was-
And
she was
she
not
immediately was not impressed, and
Yeah.
I don't think we should date. I was like, I didn't know that you had to text that. It felt real. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to not interrupt.
We'll do
so
another
much.
side podcast of your love life.
Lack thereof.
or love death. Whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it.
Potatoes.
He mentioned Willie Bush, and I went, "Ugh." That's because my feelings of Willie Bush is, Guy can suck a dick. There you go.
I've heard the same thing.
I didn't think.
No,
you
I
meant
like
that at all.
7 out of 10 can suck a dick.
What's that?
I didn't think you meant that at all the first time.
Oh. No, like first time, like you said,
thought I was trying to-
I'll be honest with you, like to be full transparency, I thought I had gotten stony baloney and gotten really off track. And he was like, "Andy, come on, like you're killing us." And so I was like, "Oh, classic me." And then he later is like, "No, it's because Willie Bush is the worst." And that is accurate in
He
retrospect.
might not be the worst, but he's not great.
Who's worse, him or Jose Canseco?
Willie
It-
Bush?
it's
That
always
guy's a
Canseco.
dirtbag.
Jose Canseco?
Always
All
Canseco.
day. This is a Cubs fan.
For being
that
a
hates
rat.
Jose Canseco. That's great. That's good news. All right. Well, you have not only a deep and undying love for Phil Ingram, but Also, a segment designed for him.
Hang on. Stop. King of alterations, man. And Chicago places?
Yeah.
Longman and Eagle will be one of the most hospitable places you ever step foot in.
Longman and Eagle.
That is a great place.
Yeah, they have about 5 apartments on their second floor. If you stay there, you get free whiskey tokens, but the staff there...
Wait, hold on. Whiskey tokens, are they for whiskey or are they for games? Do you get tokens for drinking whiskey or do you get tokens to drink whiskey?
Would it be weirder if they were called whiskey tokens and you played games with them?
Yeah, because like you drink a lot of whiskey, you get tokens to go play the games.
No, they're whiskey tokens for whiskey.
All right.
They have a whiskey list of $3 shots, and those whiskey tokens are good for
all
shots.
Old Crow.
Yeah. But anyway, no, it's not. It's not. It's good.
And they're
Wild
all...
turkeys on it, which is
Also, my favorite place is the Congress Hotel.
yeah. Congress is great.
I saw Ray LaMontagne play there.
Also, I was gonna say Wild Turkey's on it, 101,
Delicious.
which is, if you know me, that's one of my favorite bourbons ever.
No,
underrated.
that's weird.
I was reading your shirt that said real boner and snow falling.
This isn't first form.
That's my tattoo right above my ass crack. But and then also the Sportsman's always a good bar too. So
Yeah.
also in the same area. But all those people are just really good people. Fucking finesse at hospitality. Very little pretense.
Yeah, say what you will about
sports.
sports
Can I
teams
take us
and
off
rivalries
topic
here,
for a second?
but
Yeah.
Let's talk about music venues as opposed to bars. Well, that's the same thing. That's one of the things I miss most about like these times is that you can't
Easily.
go out and see music.
Actually, our next guests are going to be people who are running music venues because
What's your?
that's where I came from, and
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. you know,
That's that was one of the things that kind of roped me into restaurants was the fact that Riddles had live music every night, and I was
Same here.
able to like hang out with bands and like get to develop relationships with musicians who were just fucking badass, like people who I felt like should have been touring.
no, I mean, like, so I mean, yeah, favorite music venues. You guys have them. I have mine. I mean, mine's very pedestrian. I really like the pageant because
I think Phil kind of touched on something a little bit more interesting to me as a musician, though. Is like St. Louis is
several things more interesting than you as a musician.
When I like first started out like working restaurants, bar, hospitality, whatever you want to call it, one of the things that I loved the most was that I could go to any number of neighborhoods on any given night and see some really good live music. And a lot of times it was for free.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
you just can't do that now.
Yeah, Soulard is that. Somebody, I forget who the fuck I ran into. I ran into somebody, and they're like, yeah, we're in town, blah, blah, blah. We went to Beale on Broadway for dinner. Right, that's the one that's still around, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the one that died, I think.
A lot of
Because
them.
that's
died.
where Kim Massey used to play on that super
Broadway
humid
was-
patio
I'm
at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
I remember. It was so good.
So they just went to Broadway Oyster Bar, and
And you have BB's, which is the makes
Yeah,
the
there's BB's. There's still
trifecta
BB's.
of jazz.
but Broadway Oyster Bar, and they're like, yeah, we went to Broadway Oyster Bar. It was really great. Everything was awesome. And they were like, I know it's a little tourist trappy, and I I stopped them like, no, not at all. And I was just like, these guys are like some of the best fucking people to play musical instruments, like made a living there. Like that's their fucking home.
And also, like, I mean, not to like, I don't know. We don't have enough people living in St. Louis for anything to be a tourist trap. Everything is needed revenue,
True. And
you know, like, so
yeah, the days of Laclede's Landing are gone.
yeah, I mean,
That
yeah,
may have been the only tourist
The
trap,
city's
to be
kind of
honest.
missing that money, and like living here, you don't want to go down there.
yeah, what's funny is like how the city
Is that a tourist trap? Or well, maybe it is, but it's a trap
buddy
that
from
you
Cincinnati who
laid.
loves F&B. He comes to St. Louis, and I don't know. Cincinnati's very close to being a sister city, but he said the one thing that St. Louis has, it's not a tourist trap. It's just neighborhoods. We got flags for every neighborhood.
Yeah.
We have like this kind of independent culture every 8 blocks, so to speak.
It is weird how we spend a bunch
And
of
it's
money on
labeled.
these, like,
and it's labeled.
sculptures
As I say, like
for
you see
different
like,
neighborhoods.
the lamp post on the street. It's like,
Like,
you're in this
I'm in
neighborhood
South
now.
City. Like
It's
that's all I know.
I mean, St. Louis is kind of similar to the U.S. Like it kind of has like this
statehood.
invest in yourself.
Right.
You know, if St. Louis would just like,
neighborhoods have their identity here for sure. I mean, I'm rah
how
to the
many
Grove.
people grew up in St. Louis and went someplace else and did something great? A lot of them. Like,
What? Yeah.
well, it's not that St. Louis lacks talent. It's that St. Louis does not retain talent at the same rate.
It might pressure cook it. That's kind of how I looked at my hometown in Springfield. Like nobody with talent stays there, but it does pressure cook a lot of talent.
St. Louis is weird though because people always come back. It's kind of a vortex. Well, not a vortex. That
No, it's got its own gravity. You're at
definitely.
best going to orbit it, let alone come back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to like pass through.
This guy's over here just watching TV. He is over this. Oh my gosh! Listen, Adventure Time's ended. You
Episode
can go back.
3 and our producer's just fucking winging it.
He is just like, what is this
I want
show?
a mic.
The volumes are great. We're doing good.
I'm doing my job.
But also, you know, he actually made an interesting point though. Like you were saying, like you had musicians that should have been touring.
Yeah,
Like, what were some of the best musicians you saw at Riddles?
P. Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he still plays around.
Mm-hmm.
John Norman.
I'm not familiar with him.
John Norman passed away, but he was a saxophone horn player, teacher, but like he just taught students. Like Emmanuel Harold was like he was drumming in John Norman's Saturday night band at Riddles for like years while he was in high school. I mean, there were a ton of people who came through.
Yeah. And also the cool thing about it is like, I came from, so, you know, coming from Creepy Crawl, and then I got really in tune with like the art house scene with like all these avant-garde musicians. And a lot of those guys as students were in bands that I was seeing. So like when you see like groups like Grandulina
Yeah.
and Yowie, where it's like super experimental stuff. It was like, that was all faceted in the fact that like, we have these great fucking jazz players here, and like the kids are listening, you know. And
Yeah, I mean, jazz is deep in like St. Louis, like the high school
Oh yeah.
music. What you're taught is usually.
I mean, even on the adult side, I know we don't really flash it a lot, but I've got a buddy that plays. He's played around the world. His name's Brandon Mazzello. He's a Chicago kid, and again, South Side guy. Like came up trying to play under the greats and would play in Kansas City and Chicago. His biggest fear is playing in St. Louis and getting laughed out, and he doesn't like. I don't entirely understand why. I feel like there's other bigger stages, but I guess the art's taken far more seriously here. In the sense, if you make a fool of yourself here, it's harder to recover than other places.
I don't think it's so much.
well,
That.
I mean, to me, I think it's like it's a different.
I mean,
perspective
as
than
a
that.
compliment, by the way. Like, it just seems like it's way
Well,
more
I mean,
intense than I realized.
I think it's the pedigree here is just very much more centralized because it's fewer players, but there's still a good standard pedigree of like real fucking players here.
Yeah, like the ones that are going to see you.
No, there's definitely real players here, but like when I was in high school, the shit we studied was, we had to take a music theory class, but it was, it was classical, it was orchestral, it was not jazz, it was not, learning how to play an instrument and having the skill to play in a group, but also having individuality.
Also, do you play? What do you play?
I haven't played anything in a long time. Drums is what I love.
Don't stop playing, man. Start again.
When I played bass, when I started to actually learn to play bass, I stopped listening to everybody else but the drummer. Like the drummer was the only one that I had
more skilled at listening. So recording is what I'm still fascinated by.
I know, but you can never stop playing. You should never stop playing.
No, you don't stop playing.
Especially with kids.
I stopped calling myself a quote unquote musician
Yeah.
in high school.
No,
Especially with kids, though. Like, that's the coolest thing
That's like the first language, right?
is giving
Is
them
sound.
sound. Yeah. Exactly. Like
It's a recorder with 3 blind
there's
mice.
not a fucking birthday or Christmas goes by where he doesn't get a drum or a fucking keyboard or something just to be like, I know you don't care, and I know this is just a thing for you to bang on, but eventually you'll be so happy that you have all this.
Yeah.
You know?
Playing music is key for me. Like,
It's a universal language for sure. And
definitely.
I really do think it's like one of the last magics that actually exist in the modern world. And it, thanks to Spotify, which you can watch us on,
You can listen to us on it.
it ruins that magic because now music's just a thing that happens. It's just an afterthought. It's not.
I mean, music is definitely different than.
It's hard to find people who are actually presently listening to music.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
that's
it's
one of those
weird.
things
Like
that's
even what 10 years
missing.
ago, the radio is the same 10 or 12 top 40, and I was surprised by how many people enjoy that aspect.
Yep.
And even on the weekends when they come to your bar, they want to hear that same song that's been playing on the radio in the office all week, but now they want to drink to it.
There's also a thing about that though, like the same way that I talk about how the liquor industry is a bunch of old guys still trying to play old games. I think the music industry is the same way, and like the top
Every
top,
industry is old
yeah,
men trying to hold on to money and power.
yeah. But the top 40 charts and all that stuff, I think, are a fallacy. I don't actually think it's real. Like there's media conglomerates, obviously, who are
Josie and the
pumping-
Pussycats taught us this years ago.
But like there's media conglomerates that are pumping out music to people who are taking it in. But I actually do think that like there's a precedent, and I think eventually it'll change to where music controls the media as opposed to the media controlling the music. And I
That's
think
a bold take.
I think it's growing. I think you see.
I don't think that's bold. I think that's common sense.
I think specifically
No,
music
no.
controls media at one point.
I think music controls.
I mean,
more
media,
than
like
most
more
people.
recently,
But
we've got the Britney Spears conservatorship. I mean, they did that documentary. Media just controlled music for the next a little bit.
But what you're seeing though is like there's more and more people who realize that like the avenues of the internet, like it's not just there for to be told what to listen to. You get to listen to whatever the fuck you want, and now it's bigger than ever. So like as an independent musician, a lot of times until you actually fucking need it, it makes more sense to just be an independent musician and make your own music, because now you can make your own culture instead of like depending on other people to make it for you. And you're seeing that more and more and more, and eventually the playing level is going to get fucking evened out. It's going to change.
Well,
So
call me
here's
maybe.
my theory.
Podcast over. Have a good night.
Did it?
Drink. No, don't do that.
Don't see that.
You're
not
not
out so
Vita.
easy.
I'm going to give you a story, and you have to tell me if it was from Delmar Lounge or Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Right,
it
right.
Be
makes
enthusiastic. Give it to him.
And
And I'll be here.
you're just going to be here
I'm hearing it.
talking when I don't want you to. It'll be great.
The thing I offer.
I'm only kidding.
My strength and my weakness.
All right. So the first instance, a man walks in with some trunks, flip-flops and sunglasses, and that's it. No shirt. He walked in sometime after midnight, and it was packed, of course. He went to the end of the bar, and standing next to him were these two giant men who were staring at him pretty hard. He finally made eye contact with them, and one of the giant men said, "I guess it's like that." He responds with, "Yes, I like to party." And they said, "Shit, so do we." They took their shirts off, and eventually, about a quarter of the guests ended up without shirts.
That's
probably
not Kitty
Florida.
Chesney?
Yeah, that's Florida.
It's Delmar Lounge.
Ah,
The man without a shirt was Josh Genuine.
Yeah. Okay.
He said that when he told me the story too.
What's
he
your
said
memory on that?
the two guys took off their shirts, so there's like three shirtless men.
Why do
Yeah.
dudes want to take shirts off when they want
He
to
was
fight?
he
That
was
feels
DJing.
opposite.
I forget what his night was called, but he had
Yeah.
a resident gig there,
Yeah, but he
and that was one
he
of their
said that you
wind
looked
downs.
at him like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then you were just like, "I'm too busy to deal with this." So
Is that one of the times you felt like I made her D?
And then like those three guys without shirts just happened to like get the rest of the people with no shirts on. So,
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
all right.
I can see why we did this game, though.
It's a good game.
It's fucking
No,
genius.
I'm glad that you
I
said
like it.
Florida. I thought you were like, oh, I remember this.
The Delmar.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned the word scandal?
If I mentioned pistol shrimp,
Yeah.
what's up, Mike? Call it to Mike. All right. A man walks to the bar with the gator in hand and with the gator's mouth taped shut. He orders a beer. Responding to the bewildered look on the person behind the bar's face, he replies, "Y'all ain't out of beer here, are you?"
I mean, that definitely sounds like the Delmar.
That's Florida.
I was saying that. Come on. I wanted to be Delmar.
I thought
really
the gator
do.
would give it away.
Yeah, the gator.
I put gator on the menu for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably fucking gators in Mississippi.
I know. Obviously,
There actually are.
Obviously, the marketing failed. Yeah, it's fine.
Like
All
he
right.
said, Katrina changed a lot of things up here.
After verbal abusing staff, a woman walks to the street, pulled down her pants, exposing all her bits, and began dancing around in the street. While an employee was trying to subdue the cray-lay,
The what?
I meant to say
Also,
the
her bits.
cray lady. Yeah, showing her bits.
her bits.
Showing the
You-
bits.
English.
Her vagina was out.
Oh, that's what it was. Very well.
While an employee is trying to subdue vagina out lady, she licked both sides of his face. Later reports of the same lady claimed to have disrupted traffic by naked lewd dancing in the streets.
I had my own idea, but it's not my game.
I mean, that sounds like St. Louis in
I mean,
general.
that's a St. Louis bar manager if I've ever heard of one.
Florida's pretty wild, though.
Nobody's denying that. Leonard Skinner came
Yeah,
from
no, that's
It's
probably.
wild
I
as
mean,
hell.
I'll say the Delmar.
All right.
That's Florida.
Damn it.
See, I mean,
Also, could have happened to Delmar.
I mean, yeah, that seems unsubstantiated.
I'm sure it has.
maybe I like
Instead
thought
of
the
a naked
Delmar was
lady-
crazier than it.
Yeah,
Than
instead of a
was.
naked lady, it was probably just crazy man.
There were way too many naked
stop
ladies
reading
in
my
the Delmar.
diaries. What the hell?
What's that?
There were way too many naked ladies in the Delmar.
There's a lot of naked ladies in Delmar. I think
A lot of ladies
best
showing
thing-
their bits.
about this is you're just illustrating.
ladies, men.
I mean, yeah, bit central.
Yeah, the best thing about this, you're just illustrating shit that happened at Delmar Lounge that I didn't know about.
Well, I mean,
I only got
you're way younger than me, Tony.
yeah.
Look, we are
I got
investigative journalists if you've ever seen them.
Small.
We know how to draw it out.
I got a small joint of it, you know. After a night at the bar, the couple lays down next to a dead rat to get an odd selfie. As they were taking the picture of the dead rat,
All right, that's Florida.
I think this is Alice in Wonderland.
as they were taking a picture, the dead rat turns its head and looks at them.
That's Florida.
That's what?
Florida.
That's Delmar.
That has got to be Delmar. Dead rat.
That was Megan and Josh.
Turns out it's just some girl they called Dead Rat. And
Josh is the source of all my Delmar stories because
Well, okay, that makes sense.
this makes more sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh was actually before I got there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
You guys worked together. Oh, because he was DJing, right?
he was yeah. He'd stopped DJing by the time I got there. Though.
Yeah.
He was living
solid
across the
career
street.
move.
He actually, at one point, he moved into that.
He was married to he was dating Tina, and Tina was one of my managers for
Yeah. She's married to
a couple
my
of
buddy
years.
Luke
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, she's out west.
We had names for her, which I'll tell you after this.
Please don't.
Tina's wild.
I do love this about the podcast because every episode there's like this really like interpersonal, like known people in the community, like genuine
There's St.
discussion.
Louis, man, and
No,
like,
I love
it
it.
is
St. Louis.
It's like, hey, what high school did you go to? Sparta. Nah, I did go to Sparta High School. I'm just not King Leonidas.
Great.
No.
40-year-old Harry
Okay.
sat at the bar next to an 80-year-old man. The 40-year-old man was speaking poorly of a female employee and using expletives describing her anatomy. The 80-year-old, let's call him George.
This feels like a setup.
The 80-year-old George leaned in and stated, "In my Germany, people do not speak in such a manner." Harry exclaimed, "I don't care if you're Russian or Dutch," and punched the old man in the face. Harry went to jail.
Why specifically Russian or Dutch? I do not know. I don't care. You're these very specific two things.
That's very specific and random.
Why?
So I'll go with the Delmar.
Florida.
Some like bad in 100
Those things.
on the negatives.
These are the two things my daddy said are bad.
The best thing is
That's a very too specific.
Florida's
thing.
just known for the dumb, crazy shit. And part of it isn't because Florida's that dumb and crazy. It's the fact that
It seems contagious. You saw Tom Brady. That was dope. I like that guy. I hated him. I hated Tom Brady. I was Rams fan, St. Louis Rams.
I mean,
And then
Florida
that
is
dude's throwing the
America.
Lombardi Trophy from pontoon to pontoon and making it. That's pretty good.
So the thing about it is Florida has no confidentiality clauses in any crime or whatever. So anything that happens in Florida is available for all media all the time. So that's why like you get all these crazy stories out of Florida. Not because Florida is crazy.
They just immediately go to people's freaking.
It's just the fact that the state just says
What do they call
people
that?
should know.
They should know. No, they shouldn't.
You'll nail this one. A bar employee.
The trends say no.
You're gonna crush it. You're gonna crush it.
I will say that.
Well, I mean,
A bar employee smashed the patron through a table and restrained an unruly customer.
well, that's the Delmar. Yeah.
It might be both. We don't.
Hang on. A police officer watches and walks up to the fighting men. Looking on to the guy being restrained, he states, "I warned you to stop talking."
I think that's Batman.
Well, yeah, no, that's the Delman.
Oh, yeah.
That's Christopher Nolan. Well, hey, thanks. Thanks for playing along.
You're 1 for 5.
I mean, this would have been a good day for Truth and Malort, but that was phenomenal.
Good one.
That was good. Well, hey, man, like, I know we're running out of battery power and producer power, and
I keep turning
we
that
just wanna
away.
thank
Like
you again
I'm
for-
done.
yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, well, if people want to follow you and see what you're doing, is there a good Instagram for you or anything?
Yeah. My Instagram is pwing. I think there might be an underscore STL.
That's true.
P-Wing
I follow him.
_STL.
That's accurate. He is, yeah. And also, we've tagged him on our 2 Bears 1 Bar Instagram and Facebook. So, follow it.
Yeah, we'll tag you. Follow us on Instagram at 2 Bears 1 Bar.
So again, yeah, we iTunes, Facebook,
See us on
Spotify,
YouTube,
the
iTunes.
internet at large.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Also, feel free to email us at info@2bears1bar.com. We use numbers whenever applicable. But just tell us what you want to see. If you want to hear from a certain bartender or a certain personality, let us know. And we either say that's a great idea, we'll get on it, or we'll just tell you to fuck
All right, guys.
I think that's it. I think we got to wrap it
It
up.
is a wrap. So if whatever platform you see us on, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share the bear.
Share the bear. Thanks to Navita and Scofflaw Times. And drink it up.